Finally. Okay, it took me a minute to get the camera together. I've not done a video in a minute. I'm gonna have to delete a lot of stuff off of my computer to make sure that I'll be able to upload this video, okay? I'm going to try to keep this video really short. Who knows if that's gonna be able to happen or not. This video is specifically in reply to a YouTuber, right? And it's kind of like my spin on their video, but also sending them accolades for the video that they filmed and uploaded on YouTube. So the YouTuber is called The Spiritual Cowboy Girl. I just kind of discovered their channel. I've not seen much on this YouTuber's channel, but they have tons of videos, tons of shorts. So I decided to follow, or they call it subscribe on here, sorry, because of this video. And the video is called Fear of Others Seeing You Succeed. Okay, and I watched it twice. This is the person in question, the genius, the inspirational genius. First and foremost, I do have my, what do you call this thing, AirPod in my ear. And I am wanting to touch topics that they talked about in their video. So first and foremost, if you could watch that one first, that would be great. If you feel like, okay, let me hear what you have to say and then go back and watch it, I'm going to link that video underneath this video 100%. This was uploaded a day ago. I already watched it twice. I'm probably going to watch it again. Because I'm just really shocked that other people have this experience in their families. So this person has experienced a lot of the similar things that I've experienced in my life. And I would say growing up, it's really crazy. I don't want to like get on a platform and be like, hey, my experiences are worthy of attention and praise, because that's not what I feel like I'm doing. That's not from the place in which I'm bringing this out. But at the same time, it's just shock, because a lot of people won't ever admit that they've done things to you to make you kind of have this outlook on yourself. It's like a questionable outlook, right? So I'm not going to talk too much on their video because I really want y'all to go watch it. View that thing up, okay? But first and foremost, I just want to thank you for bringing your experience out here to people like me and people, you know, that are on their journeys currently. So usually when you are the child in a family that's kind of like the, sorry, I don't know what it is, but this septum, I guess I can make another video on that. You kind of know early on when you are the family member that's not in the okay realm of the family. You're constantly watched. All of your decisions, even before you can make decisions, right? They're all put to the side so that people can kind of like puppeteer you. There's a couple things that you said in your video that I can relate to heavily, right? So you said that you felt like you were the jester, right? Okay. So I loved acting. Acting? Why does that not sound like a real word right now? I loved acting. I loved it to pieces. I discovered that I like sorry, I have to make sure this freaking septum ring is together, because now I have OCD about it, even though I didn't have it before. So yeah, anyways, I wasn't outgoing growing up, but I was cool to other people, so people would constantly like hang around me. And I'll never forget the kind of like the I'm not shocked action to when, from my family, when it was like friends, when we got older, they would try to come over and be like, hey, can she come with the mall? Can she come with us to the mall? Or, you know, can Mariah come hang out with us? And it was a ton of diverse people. Like, it was kind of like oh, this must be for Boosie. There's a gothic person at the door. There's skaters at the door. This must be for Bootsy. There's some, you know, they look like they're part of the LGBT. We definitely know that's for Bootsy. It's not that I was trying to like be that way. It's just whoever I was cool with, I would be friends with. Whoever was cool with me, I would be friends with, and it didn't matter what they looked like, or I wasn't really big on like picking on people for what they looked like or what they wanted to present as or who they were. Like some people, like now you get picked on for everything in public, like with the cameras, but I mean, I'd say back then when I was a teenager, it was very rare to like, social media I feel like wasn't as prominent, or it could just be that way because I wasn't allowed to be on it. I was much older when I did get on social media, and I had a Facebook, and it was made for me. My MySpace was made for me from a friend of mine. But so yeah, with the gesture trope of the family, when you mentioned that, I highly identified with that. There was this thing that I used to do as a teenager that I felt like could take the judging energy off of me. My family was into the Jehovah's Witness cult, and they were really strong into it to the point where individuality was not, it's not commendable to be an individual. If you try to show any signs of individuality, you are instantly cut off and told like what you're not supposed to do. And so anyways, I was young, I was free, I was very carefree, but I wanted to make people laugh because I knew that that was a way that I could see people happy, but also that the attention could kind of like get distracted off of me and what I was doing, as opposed to like, oh, she's making us laugh, she's doing something funny. And a cousin of mine like recently sent me like a meme reel or something, and it was saying like, oh, how a person can do the English accent and all that stuff, and it reminded them of when I used to do like the super nanny accent, and my grandmother and my aunt and my cousins, they all talk about that here and there every time, and they'll say, oh, where's the accent, where's the super nanny, because I was just really into I was just really into accents. And I don't know, I guess part of me, like, one of the assignments in our theater class in high school was to do accents. Like, you had to do 3 off the top of your head. So I think mine was like an Indian accent, of course a Jamaican one because that one's easy, and then the British accent. And so it was just kind of like something I did. I thought was silly, I would do it, but I saw how funny people thought it was. So I would say for me it was more of the jester / caretaker role. Very ironically, we did have a death in the family, and I would love to be able to talk about my experience with that, but I'm pretty sure that there's like, it's like a weird restriction where people don't want you to really flourish and kind of talk about your experiences. I will say that like when I was younger, there was like that whole grouping of like family members that didn't like me, that they were very open about not liking me. But at the same time, it would always sway back and forth. They would show like older aunts or like an uncle, they would show, especially the aunts, that they liked me or they're like things about me. So, wow, you could teach me about couponing or getting free stuff or um, tips about hair and skin and nails and just all this stuff. Or like with journaling or calendars and stickers and just fun stationery stuff, they would be like, oh my gosh, this is such a plus. But then they would go back and like show me that they felt little of me at the end of the day. And I had a parent who did that to me too. And it was like a constant needing to get their validation that really pushed me to be a people pleaser. I'm not sure how old you are, by the way. To me, you seem younger. You seem maybe in your 20s. I am not in my 20s. I am in my 30s. So I'm a little, I feel it could be that you're my same age, because you know what they say. You know what they say. I don't know if it's working for me though, because I'm suffering from a chronic illness right now. And on top of that, I'm not getting much sleep. So the gray hairs are attacking, as well as the under eye bags, and they're really evident. So it could be that I do look my age or whatever. But I think with my experience though, being kind of like the black sheep of the family, it was sort of like always an obligation to your family. And my feelings were so hurt a lot of times. Like I would just cry, and a lot of my family would say, oh, she's such the crybaby, she's so emotional, she plays the victim. But I couldn't help it because I was always empathic. And when I felt something, it would ooze out of me, like out of my pores. It wasn't something that I could hide well enough, especially with people who are close to me. So yeah, I did want to make that that point, just about the performing. You mentioned that a lot of your uncles, I think, hated you. So there's one uncle of mine that hated me when I was a kid. And to me, he seemed like such a womanizer. He had the sweetest wife. They are no longer together, but I still call her aunt. No matter what. I saw her at the recent funeral. She came to see me when I was pregnant with my oldest child. I still associate her with being my aunt. I felt like she was such a sweetheart, and him being my family, it was like no excuse. I'm like, "Ugh, you could do better," but he did not like me from a young age, only because I had a child. And I will say that as a girl growing up, when you have so many people pulling and tugging on you, someone's tugging on your left arm, someone's tugging on your right arm, someone's tugging on your shirt from behind, someone's trying to take you by the collar. You just want to live the way you want to live, but for some reason, it's always other people's wants and needs out of you that are the priority. And because you are a people pleaser, you just go any which way. I will say that in my life, I couldn't run away from being a people pleaser. It was just something that was sewn into me, given the fact that I was raised in a religious cult that had really strong opposing views. But specifically, this uncle went out on he flipped out on me twice for two different things. So the first thing was that I was being abused by this guy. And he was extremely abusive, to the point where I had been put in the hospital because of him several times. And I was so afraid, and he's still alive and well, just walking around Charlotte, North Carolina. And I don't know. It was kind of like my uncle blamed me because the guy was constantly sneaking in the windows, and it's not like I could do anything about it because my safety was compromised, you know? There were times where he would threaten, if you don't talk to me or if you try to break up with me, I'm going to blow up the house that your grandmother's in. I'm going to pop your grandmother's tires. I'm going to find your mom. And just like, there was really bad aura around this person. And I'm pretty sure he has more mugshots than he does school photos for every year. And he's probably still offending. But it was like one of those things where I was deathly afraid to get on the wrong side of this person. And my uncle got so mad at me because he would sneak in the window and he would get so upset. But really, the guy was forcing himself onto me, and there was nothing I felt like I could do at that point. So he got mad at me, and he never even asked me anything about what was going on. I mean, I was a teenager. I didn't really have a good like foundation for like confidence. I didn't. He got upset with me when I got pregnant. I'm not going to go into detail with that, although it's an extremely sad occurrence. But I've been healing from that stuff, doing therapy, and it's very important to also to know if you have a talent and you have friends, or you have friends and family members who are around you that put you down for what you love to do. I have family that I don't even know if they notice that they're so negative on me to where I get disgusted and I pull away from them to the point where I no longer reach out, and I'm like very like, you can kind of go your own way kind of thing. So sorry, I had to come back. But yeah, I have family who they give such negative feedback. So like with my YouTube channel, the fact that I really like making videos on TikTok and stuff, and a lot of times I would make videos on TikTok on my bed because, like I said, I am dealing with a chronic illness right now. I have myofascial pain disorder, and I also have fibroids, and my surgery is coming up in 2 weeks. So my energy has been so low. This condition causes me to lose a ton of blood, more than a woman should lose every month. And it has also caused me to now become anemic, in which I have to take iron supplements every day to replenish that within my body. Along with me gaining weight, especially around my midsection. It like, fibroids will like pump you out kind of thing. Some women have them super huge, some women have them smaller. But yeah, I'm going to get mine removed. I have 2, and if they let me keep them, I will show you what they look like. But I'll just say that to my family, now that I'm down, it seems as though a lot of times some of them like to see you down, especially the distant family members. I will say that I've been told that I am lazy. I've been called out for being lazy several times in a row. You know, there's one family member that's like, you know, stay off of TikTok, do what you have to do for your mental health. And even though there were times where people apologize for what they say to you, the energy is still like, my energy is of confusion. And for people to not know you, but they're related to you, is the biggest reality check to me. I was told by a close family member in relation, like in blood, that, you know, I don't know you anymore. And I'm like, well, that's actually a good thing. I've been keeping it that way for a reason, because of just the sheer hurt and pain that they try to cause me, as though I don't live in hurt and pain every single day. When I was younger, going back to the spiritual cowboy girl, when I was younger, I had talents, okay? When you said that you were neurodivergent and you had several talents in the arts, it was something that I knew growing up that was like easily identified by people around me. My family, they would buy me markers, crayons, color pencils. My mom said the only thing that I needed was a piece of chocolate and a corner where I could sit and draw and color and make things. And that was still, honestly, that's still my reality now. But when you grow up in a very violent home where domestic violence is the center, or the trauma, and just like living out seeing emotionally immature adults, you kind of form these, you get hyper fixated on certain things. I can speak for myself. um, Art was one of those things, and believe it or not, skateboarding. I can try to post some pictures. I guess I have some pictures also on the Teenage Dirtbag Challenge, so maybe you can go see those. But I do have like several pictures from back in the day. I was so obsessed with skateboarding. It was to the point where I thought that I was going to be a professional skateboarder. I wrote into, I feel like, Skateboarding Magazine. Yeah. And I like drew out all of the, like, my favorite skateboard logos, the brands. And I was like, this is how old I am. I'm really into skateboarding. I would love to be sponsored, like, I was really into it. I was into fashion. I loved Nylon magazine. My plan at like 16 or 17, I was going to intern for Nylon magazine. So I contacted the editor-in-chief. Never sent the letter off, but I still have it. That was my dream. I loved Nylon. ID magazine was pretty cool. W newspaper. A lot of those fashion magazines and newspapers, I loved it. Street fashion was pretty cool. I loved high fashion too. Haute couture. It was amazing. As a teenager, I was obsessed with Pat McGrath, and I have tons of books on fashion. I was just always hyper fixated on these certain topics, and I knew I was going to be something. But I will say that there was one family member who's an elderly person currently, and they were when I decided at the age of like 18 or 19 that I was going to move to Atlanta. I ended up going to Atlanta with, I'm not even going to call this person a friend, but an acquaintance, I guess. They were like so forcing me, like, you need to come, you need to come. And I'm like, okay. And of course I was passive, so I went, and I was like a little upset because I was like, first of all, I have nothing. I'm not working right now. The only work I was doing was cleaning houses with a family member. They had like a janitorial service, I guess, or a cleaning service where they would go around and clean houses for people and buildings too. And so we would do that, and I would get like a few $100 over like a few months period of time. And so I would save my money, but at that point I had nothing. And this person was like, no, you need to go, I'll pay for everything, blah blah. So I was like, okay, I'll go. It was on a trip to support them because they had this like brand, skateboarding brand and stuff. So I ended up going, and I fell in love with the art. They had like what we call in CLT like Noda, but I guess it's called little 5 points or something like that. And I wanted to stay there, and I remember seeing people walk around at night, and they were just dressed so freaking amazingly. Like, everybody had their own vibe. There was music happening. There's thunder outside. And it was just like, can I be around people who are not confused about art and individuality for once? And I didn't want to come back. And when I did come back, I remember telling this family member who's an elder now, that means a lot to me. I was like, you're the only family member that I respect enough to actually verbalize this with. And she was standing on the porch and I was like standing lower. And I said, I just wanted to talk to you and let you know that I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta. And before I could finish giving the reasons as to why, all I said was, you're the most important person to me right now. And I just wanted to tell you face to face before I actually made the decision to do it. And the first thing she said to me was, how come everyone I love leaves me? And I stood there and I was like empty inside. I didn't have any thoughts. I didn't have any feelings. I just remember feeling numb and empty. And it was my dream to acquire life. It was my dream to acquire life. And if I could say anything to anyone who has the ability to reproduce in their own bodies, not separate where you're watching you can get someone pregnant. I'm talking about the vessel in which you can reproduce. Think it twice. Think twice and do what you love to do in life. Follow the dreams, no matter how many people put you down. And see, I didn't know it was legal that after you became an adult that you could leave toxic family. I learned that like 15, 20 years later. Too late, but it's just like you sort of like go into this hole in your life and you're like, what things do I regret? I definitely regret telling them that that's what I was going to do. And it's kind of one of those things that you can't change, of course, because it's in the past. But the more that I think about it, the top goals for me would honestly be to relocate. And that's why I've been a little sad about my channel and doing things artistically and being down like this in my health and needing this surgery and doing what I need to do for my family. It's a process, but once this surgery is over with, I'm not in bed most of the time, rotting away as a young elderly person. My dreams are still achievable, and I try to tell myself that too now. Chasing other people's needs and wants will get you nowhere. So I am the product of that, and I would love to be able to inspire more people. I know that there are older people that get my age or get older and they've made mistakes in their lives and they want the younger, more vibrant person to suffer. That's never been me. I have a family member who is a cousin, not even by blood, but technically by marriage because I have a step parent. I remember being a mom, a new mom. I remember being in a relationship that was very oppressive. And one thing was that wearing makeup was like a negative thing to them. And so I remember packing up some really good makeup, some great brushes, and I called this family member over because they told me when they were younger, I wanted to let you know that you are the reason that I went to beauty school, and you're the reason that we're not gonna do that today. She just said, you're the reason that I went to beauty school, and you're the reason that I love makeup today, and I used to look up to you immensely, and I used to want to be you, and I wanted to show my support, but also it was kind of like a sign of like I love you kind of thing, or I got your back, or I support you, by giving her a lot of like my really good makeup brushes, some of my makeup that she could have obviously disinfected and stuff, nothing that was like in tubes, but like eyeshadow and blush and stuff like that. And I hope to be like the older person that can inspire younger people. Whenever I do see like teenagers that are on the right path, I'm always like in a very maternal state of like, I wish I could, you know, if I had enough money, I could like go and just sponsor teenagers in school who want to do things that they love, you know. And I do recognize, like, when I'm out grocery shopping and I see teenagers, like, they look so young. Um, I try to, like, when they do come over to help with self checkout or whatever, I try to strike up a conversation with some, and I'm trying to, like, you know, sort of kind of give them that older sister nudge. And I know it's weird. Maybe some people are like, what the heck, get your groceries and get out. But I do know that that message is somewhat receptive to some people. Because I have done it before, and I'll go like, hey, grab you like some chips or something to drink, let me pay for it, like, I'll, you know, can I help you? And I've done that to multiple people before, but not just young, but I don't know, I just, even after all of that, I can say having a very judgmental, hurtful family, going through a health issue, going through multiple domestic violence situations where my self-confidence has been kicked all around. I still have hope for people, and I still want to spread love and positivity. So maybe on the other end, there's a positive light. If you're going through, like, you know, what we kind of discussed that we were going through on these videos, if you don't have supportive family, there are ways out of it, and I'm hoping that everybody can kind of flourish through that time. I don't know. Family, they're only one avenue. They're only one little spot on the map of your life. And if they're supportive and loving, very much so appreciate that to its fullest extent. And if they're not, the best I can say is ignore the hell out of them and just go on your way. I know a family member of my children's father's side who, they are a very religious but also culturally strict family. They come from the motherland, and so this particular family member dipped the hell out on everybody and now is doing makeup for, I forget what list of celebrity it's called. It's like A-list, B-list, and D-list or something. I don't know. But yeah, doing makeup for her, and it's just like, I totally understand the pick up and leave, you know? Like, anytime I've ever wanted to leave and actually talked about it to family members, even now, at my ripe age of early 30s, I've been discouraged, you know? And so I'm still on the journey of, it's up to me to do what I wish to do. And starting with, you know, this surgery and kind of getting everything together, and yeah, it's one of those eye-openers. But I really appreciate you for watching this video. If you have not watched her video yet, or actually their video, I'm just gonna say there because I haven't watched enough or have known this YouTuber to know what they go by, but definitely go watch. I mean, it's one of those eye-openers, especially when you've been through it. You're like, oh my god, people go through this? Yes, we do, and it's not a fun time at all. But I do think that you can surpass whatever you've gone through. So yes, thank you for watching, and I will send my love, and also send your love too, because Shawty been going through it. I ain't even put no makeup on, no elf ears, nothing, y'all. I'm going through it. But thank you for watching, and I love y'all, and thank you for stopping by my neck of the woods today. This is yours truly, Wood Dweller. Mwah. Stay magical.